Could it be? For me, your man, Louie T, here for the skill game, brought to you by Sleeper. We'll get to the Sleeper app here in a bit. But before we do that, let's talk about tonight's contest between the Philadelphia Eagles, fresh off of their bye, and the Green Bay Packers. This is a fantastic matchup. The Eagles will be featured on primetime television each of the next 2 weeks in what are going to be excellent football games. I think the Eagles are going to be on primetime or standalone games or island games 3 out of the next 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. This week, next week, they'll be on Sunday night in a fantastic showdown against the Detroit Lions. And then they'll be on Black Friday too. So the Eagles are going to be a team we start to see a hell of a lot of over the next month. This is a fascinating game. One that I really don't know how it's going to go. Don't know what the Eagles are going to look like fresh off of their bye. They had some injuries going into the bye. Also, a chance to recalibrate. The offense was less than stellar, although it started to feel like it was getting on track towards the bye. But still, I want to see what it looks like coming out of the bye. And then, meanwhile, the Packers are an enigma. I feel like they get up for games like the one we're going to see tonight, but they can also be lulled to sleep by lesser opponents, which we've seen this season with losses to Carolina and Cleveland, and then allowing a team like Cincinnati to hang around, even though they were, firmly in control of the game, but they let them hang around and didn't put them away. But when they play the better opponents, teams that they know are good, you usually see the best of the Packers. So really don't know what we're going to get from Green Bay. I do feel like this, however. Of the teams that can really truly challenge the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC, I think that it's the teams in the West and the North, right? So I think the Rams, who should have beaten Philadelphia earlier this season, are fully capable of beating Philadelphia. Almost beat them last year in the playoffs as well. I think that San Francisco is interesting. I'm not sure right now if they're good enough to beat Philadelphia. And Seattle is another team that I think can contend with Philadelphia, right? And then in the North, we're going to see Detroit next week. I actually think Philadelphia is better than Detroit. I don't think the Detroit Lions can beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I need to see Philadelphia play well tonight to ensure the way that I feel. Right now, if I had to pick a winner of next week's game, Detroit heading to Philly, I'm taking the Eagles in that game. Because Detroit doesn't play any defense. And if you can't play defense, the one thing that Philadelphia struggles with is their offense. But if your defense isn't good, the Eagles are going to be able to take advantage of you. And I think they're going to be able to take advantage of that Lions defense next week. So right now, I'm leaning towards Philadelphia there. But this is the one that intrigues me because Green Bay can play defense. They can play defense. Now, they gave it up on the ground last week to Carolina and Rico Dowdle. But they are a really good defensive football team. And when they clamp down and when they get into a rhythm defensively, they're one of the toughest teams to score and get a consistent rhythm going against. And I could easily see this being a game where the defense ratchets it up, their intensity. They come out, they stop the run. They're able to establish who they are in the game. And then, offensively, they leave a lot to be desired, do the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love did that shit that we know is in there, right? Where he just throws the bitch up for grabs and, hopes that his guy comes down with it. Basically YOLO ball shit. And it didn't work out for him last week. He threw a couple of interceptions, had some bad turnovers. It cost them. They lost the game. But then we've seen Jordan Love be super effective, like against the Steelers, where he's locked in. He's making smart decisions with the football. He's making those off-platform plays, extending the play, pushing the ball vertically down the field, getting everybody involved. They lose Tucker Kraft last week to a season-ending injury, and that's going to really hurt their offense. So there's a lot of questions about Green Bay in this game. Ultimately, if the Eagles can establish the run, something they really haven't had success doing this season, I think they're going to win this football game. If they can't consistently establish the run and they constantly find themselves behind the sticks, having to rely on Jalen Hurts to throw the football consistently, you fall right into the trap of the Green Bay Packers. That's what Jeff Hafley, their defensive coordinator, wants them to be able to do and wants the other team to have to do, is to get into those third and long situations where the Eagles can then, or rather the Packers can then be aggressive in attacking the quarterback, start to use Michael Parsons in a multitude of ways to attract attention, which frees up other guys. And all of a sudden now they're playing that zone coverage. Eyes are on the quarterback. They're playing that sticky coverage. Guys are connecting to receivers. It's tough. We know Jalen Hurts is a guy that needs to see open receivers or at a bare minimum one-on-one matchups. He sees that one-on-one, he's going to take it. But if guys aren't open, he'll hold on to it. He'll take sacks. We've seen him do that before. So that's what the Packers are aiming for. But they got to stop the run. If they can't stop the run consistently in this game, I think the Eagles are going to come out victorious. I do see them stopping the run. I do see the Eagles having trouble consistently throwing the football in this game. I do see it being a tough environment for Philadelphia to handle. And I do see Green Bay winning this game. It would not shock me if Philadelphia won this game. As a matter of fact, if the Eagles win this game, I see them winning next week as well, right? So it's a 2-for-1 for the Eagles for me. If they can come out and establish after the bye, AJ's good, Saquon's good, we're good on offense, and the defense continues to play solid football, I expect them to go home next week and beat Detroit and start taking care of this NFC North division. They've already beaten Minnesota. Here comes Green Bay. Next week, there's Detroit. And then on Black Friday, there's Chicago, and they could sweep that entire division. This is the one team in the division that I really think has smoke for the Philadelphia Eagles. And if somehow Green Bay gets them tonight, then Detroit, then that opens the door for Detroit. But I still think Philadelphia is better than Detroit. But again, I need to see it tonight to confirm what I already believe, which is that Philadelphia is a better team than the Detroit Lions. So I'm going with Green Bay tonight, just off the strength of Green Bay's defense. I'm not super confident in Green Bay's offense, especially with no Tucker Kraft. I'm not super confident in their ability to move the football, and not moving the football as much as their ability to score in the red zone. Philadelphia's red zone defense has been among the best in football this season at forcing teams to have to settle for field goals or just totally getting off the field altogether by forcing a team to go for it on fourth down and them not converting. The Eagles have taken it away in the red zone. They've had some big wins, Tampa, Kansas City, with big turnovers forced in the red zone. The Minnesota game and the Rams games were the two games where they forced teams to settle for field goals, and that ultimately led to victories. This has been their calling card. I can see Green Bay moving the football. Can they get the ball into the end zone? Is going to be key and critical if they are to win this game. I see this being a fun one tonight, but I've got the Green Bay Packers winning in a very close, hotly contested ball game. I'm thinking it's going to be somewhat low scoring, 23-20, 24-20, something along those lines. I don't think this is going to be a shootout. I don't see 31-27 or anything of that sort. I think these are two teams that defensively are going to play well against one another. And I think you're going to see a game that comes down to, one of the final possessions down the stretch. So let's get to the skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
The skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
All right, so Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app that focuses on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 10 million active users in 2025. So with that said, if you haven't already downloaded the Sleeper app, you're missing out. But there's always an opportunity to do the right thing. There's never the wrong time to do the right thing. So with that said, here's your chance to download the app and become one of the 10 million active users using this outstanding app. Just go into the description of this or any video that I do, and you'll find a link. That link will take you to where you can download the Sleeper app if you haven't already done so, right? Now, here's the big thing, right? Make sure that Sleeper is available in your area. It's available in over 25 states in the U.S. Once you've done that, then you have to verify that you are who you say you are. Once you've done that and completed that process, they're going to give you $20 free for downloading the app and becoming a member of the Sleeper family. $20 free. Don't have to do anything for that $20. Just become a member of the family. For signing up, verification, all of that good stuff, $20, right? Now, here's the kicker. Use my promo code LTN to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. That's right, a dollar for dollar match. So I would advise you to put in $100 since you can max it out at $100. Max it out. Force them to match that dollar for dollar deposit, right? Get the $100. In addition to the 100 you put in, that's 200 plus the $20 they're going to give you. That's $220. Now you got some real ammunition to go out and make yourself some real money on this app. So let's get to it, right? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about the NFL. I'm going to click on this very user-friendly interface here. Easy to navigate. So I clicked on NFL. You see the game for tonight right here, Eagles, Packers. Click on that. All right. Now we go ahead. These are the hot picks, the hot picks, the hot picks. So let's go ahead, take a look at this, see if there's anything. Now, I will be honest with you. I don't have a strategy for tonight's game. Like normally there's some sort of like theory, some sort of theme that I'm going with. Here's what I can tell you right now. Micah Parsons will not have a sack tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and go straight to sacks. And Micah Parsons, less than a sack. I don't see him getting to Jalen Hurts tonight. I see him pressuring Jalen Hurts. I don't see him get actually, like when he was in Dallas, they knew how to protect against him. This isn't going to change now that he's in Green Bay. They're going to make sure they, slide protection his way, make sure that they find ways to neutralize him. I don't expect him to be a massive part of why Jalen Hurts gets sacked. Now, I'm not saying Hurts won't be sacked tonight, but I just don't think he'll be the one doing it, right? So I'm taking the less for Michael Parsons getting a sack. All right, so now let's go back to the hot picks, the hot picks. So Saquon, anytime touchdown. I could see him scoring in this game. Josh Jacobs scores every week for the Packers. So again, if we having trouble filling this thing out, the simple thing would be to go with a Josh Jacobs touchdown, probably a Saquon touchdown, even though Saquon has not been scoring like that this year. So Hurts passing yards. He has not been very effective throwing the football this season, as we know. And this is a really good Packers defense, and they don't give up a ton of pass yards. So, I mean, the less and the more are the same. So it doesn't really benefit you to go less, right? Or more for that matter. He's got to do one or the other. He's not going to have 199.5 pass yards, right? So I don't really know what to do there. When I don't know, I just leave it alone. Christian Watson. Now, this is his third game back, if I'm not mistaken. I've been somewhat disappointed in his target shares, not getting enough opportunities, I don't think. So the 41.5 yards, he's hit that because he's usually getting some sort of explosive play during the game. But I don't know. This could be the game where he doesn't hit 42 yards. You know what I mean? So I'll come back to him. I've talked about the Eagles forcing field goals. So it wouldn't shock me if Brandon McManus kicks 2 field goals tonight. The Eagles have specialized in keeping teams out of the end zone. McManus has been a little sketchy for me. I'm not a big Brandon McManus fan, but I do think he is going to make 2 field goals tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and punch the more on that. You know what? I think both teams are going to end up having to kick some field goals tonight. Matter of fact, let's go look at the extra points made. McManus was 2.5. Jake Elliott. I don't see a bunch of touchdowns, right? I could see somebody scoring 3 touchdowns. I could see someone scoring 3 touchdowns. But is it more plausible to see 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals? Probably. Probably. If that were the case, it'd probably be more so on the Packers side than the Eagles side. I'm wondering if I should take Jake Elliott for the extra points instead of the field goals made. I mean, it's a big difference in the multiplier. And the Eagles are going to score some touchdowns. They're definitely going to score at least 2, but they're asking me for 3, and I don't know if I can commit to 3. So I think I'm just going to leave the Eagles alone on that one, on that front altogether. But I will take Brandon McManus. They're going to kick at least 2 field goals tonight. Now, will he make both of them? It's another story, but I'm just going to go with it. Dallas Goedert has been hot scoring touchdowns here of late. That's a guy that they love to go to down in the red zone. When they score touchdowns, it's usually with either a tush push, which they don't have an anytime touchdown. Let me see if they have rush touchdowns for Jalen. Like, they don't give the quarterbacks an opportunity to have rush touchdowns usually. See what the anytimes look like. Yeah, they don't usually give the quarterbacks a chance for the anytimes because Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown almost feels automatic almost every game when they get down there. We've seen the bullshit that they've done. They're at like the 5, first and goal from the 5, and they do 3 straight tush pushes. Like, what kind of bullshit is that, right? We've seen them do stuff like that. Wouldn't be shocked to see them do something like that again tonight. Somebody's got to step up for Green Bay in the absence of Tucker Kraft, right? You just think naturally, okay, Luke Musgrave, former first-round pick, going to step into those shoes and fill that void. Logically, yes, that's what you would think, but is that the answer? I don't like his receptions. If we go to receptions here real quick, you know I'm a big receptions guy. I don't love the 4 receptions. That's a lot. He could easily get 4 receptions tonight in his first full game without Tucker Kraft. I think I'm more so leaning towards his yards, though. 30.5 yards, which he had last week against Carolina in the absence of Tucker Kraft. That was in game that happened. So let's see, receptions wise, last week he had 3. And remember, those 3 receptions probably came after Tucker Kraft got injured. So that leads me to believe that it should be nothing for him to get 4. The yards, so the 4 receptions is way more from a multiplier standpoint than the yards. They throw the ball to the tight end so much in this offense that I just got to believe Luke Musgrave is going to have 4 catches tonight. So I'm going to take him for the 4 catches. Let's see what we're going to do on the Eagles side of things. We haven't done anything Eagles related yet. They're so hard to diagnose because you just don't know what you're going to get from their offense from week to week. Let's go back to the hot picks and see if I can get some ideas here. So I talked about Dallas Goedert scoring, which is always something to consider. I never like AJ Brown receiving yards, even though if he gets one-on-one, which there's a very distinct possibility that he will get some one-on-one. Jalen is not going to shy away from that, and he usually doesn't miss AJ on those one-on-one targets down the field. So while I'm a little apprehensive about AJ Brown's amount of catches, I'm not as apprehensive about his receiving yards. I do think he can have 58 receiving yards tonight. Someone's got to catch the football. Between him and Devontae, someone's going to catch the football. Someone's going to go over their total of receiving yards. Both could even do so. I'm not sure if both will. Jahan Dotson, 9 yards. That every week I always think to myself, oh, that's easy money. And then Jahan doesn't have a catch, or he has 1 catch for 7 yards. So that's one of those ones where I'm just like, like, let's go to his catches real quick. Like, they don't even have his receptions here because, like, he's probably not even in the receptions category because they know that's a setup. They'd have to set it at like 0.5 because he has like 1 catch every week. You just got to hope that 1 catch is more than 9.5 yards. I'm not messing around with that. That's a setup. All right. See. Kyshawn Nixon solo tackles. Yeah, that's too risky. He's barely clearing that. I keep waiting for a Matthew Golden touchdown, right? He hasn't had one all season. All season, this man has not scored. And every week I'm like, this is the week, right? And I keep hitting the more on that. One of these weeks, Matthew Golden is going to score a touchdown. Could this be the week? Could this be the week? Why not? All right. I'm going to get one more pick, and it's going to be Dallas Goedert. Should it be Dallas Goedert or Saquon scoring? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Christian Watson yards, and I'm going to take the A.J. Brown yards, and I'm done. So I got McManus 2 field goals, Michael Parsons not getting a sack tonight, Christian Watson over 42 yards receiving, Luke Musgrave 4 catches, Matthew Golden anytime touchdown. That's going to be the one. If this doesn't hit, that'll be the thing that gets me. He's got to have a touchdown at some point this season. They never look for him when they get down there, though. And the guy that they usually look for, Romeo Doubs, I picked him on the ticket 2 weeks ago. He never got a sniff. So at some point you have to break tendencies. You gotta look for this kid down there. You gotta give him an opportunity to score. And then AJ Brown, I think he is going to be featured in this game. If it's not him, it's Devontae. Hopefully I got the right one, right? I don't know if both of them exceed their receiving totals, but one of them will. Hopefully I got the right guy. So those are my 6 picks, and I'm sticking. That's what I'm sticking with. All right. So someone says Romeo scoring tonight, Lou. Trust. You're probably right. Romeo didn't score last week? Let me check on anytime touchdowns. He didn't score last week. Romeo ain't scored in a minute. And he had a little streak there. The Dallas game, Washington game, they throw the little slant to him down in the tight red zone. I'm going to take Romeo Doubs touchdown. I'm going to take Matthew Golden off. Because I already know Matthew. And watch tonight be the night Matthew Golden finally scores a touchdown. But if we just playing the odds, he hasn't scored all season. They don't look for him down there. Doubs is more likely to get in the end zone than Golden. So let's flip it out. Let's give my ticket a real chance to survive. So that's what we'll do. We'll go with that. Swap that out, and let's see what happens. So that's my ticket, and I'm sticking with it. All right. So there we have it. You see it on your screen. McManus 2 field goals. Parsons no sacks tonight. Doubs a touchdown. Christian Watson more than 42 yards roughly. Luke Musgrave 4 catches. AJ Brown 58 yards receiving. AJ could get me tonight too. This could easily be a 2-catch, 14-yard night for AJ Brown. We know that's nothing for him, right? To have one of those type of nights where he doesn't even really get targeted, and Devontae's the one eating, Goddard is the one eating, and they don't go to AJ until a critical moment late in the game, right? So let's hope that that's not the case tonight, and that AJ gets busy early on. There's a deep ball to AJ or something that's kind of sets the tone, and then AJ has himself a night, and I can get my yards out of the way nice and early. But in any event, make sure you go to the Sleeper app, use my promo code LTN. Get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100, and you won't regret it. And I'll go ahead and tell you, you're welcome in advance. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this stream. Let's go ahead and close out the show.
Skill Game, brought to you by Sleeper.
All right. So, CGM87, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. CGM87 writes, if defense stays bad, how does it cost DQ's time in DC? We're going to talk about that on the show here in a little bit, because he made a very, very interesting decision tonight. one that could alter, as you just mentioned, his time in DC. That is, we're in lockstep, big time, right? I just literally just talked about that on Bleacher Report. I literally just talked about that on Bleacher Report. So CGM 87, we're here. We're right here. CGM 87, double up, thank you for doubling up. Who writes, keeping Witless is a distraction. D has quit on this fraud and his off-man 20-yard cushions. Get him the hell out of DC. I've got my thoughts on that. I'm going to share that with you on the Commanders Nightly News program as well. So we're kind of here, bro. Like we're talking. All right. You're like, it's like you're in my head a little bit. I don't agree with you on this particular one, like I, kind of do on your first super chat, but we're here. We're in lockstep. So these are all talking points that I plan to address coming up on the show a little bit later on here in about 15 minutes or so. So looking forward to doing that with you and the rest of the Commanders faithful. But until then, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. This should be a fun game tonight. I'm looking forward to it. The Eagles are one of the best in the NFC. So are the Green Bay Packers. You're seeing best on best tonight. And these are two teams that could easily be in the mix when it's all said and done. They're doing the whole Jordan Love's 27 years old and that's the net magical number for, franchise quarterbacks in Green Bay. Brett Favre won his first Super Bowl, or his only Super Bowl, when he was 27 years old in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers won his lone Super Bowl in Green Bay when he was 27 years old. So they're doing that thing now with Jordan Love. Let's see if he's able to start to make people feel like that's a real thing. This is a big game in a big spot at home. This is a statement game. Let's see what he does with this opportunity. It's a big one for them, more so than it is for the Eagles. Eagles have a massive cushion in their division. They're going to coast to an NFC East chip. Meanwhile, Packers are fighting for their life in a very tough, rough, and rugged NFC North division. This would be a big statement win for them. No one else in this division. Well, only the Vikings have played them thus far in the North, but it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can really beat them. If anybody can really beat them. This is the last road game the Eagles have against NFC North opponents. Their next two against Detroit and Chicago, both at home. This is the one you got to get if you're the Green Bay Packers. This is a statement for the Eagles too. Like, we still run this. This is a big one on national television. We'll see what happens. Whatever it does, you know where to find me when this game meets its conclusion. We'll go over my picks and my ticket. We'll also go over that game. Until then, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. You guys have a good one. Peace.